Welcome to the Washdown podcast, episode number 55, with special guest Joey Clevenger. Some of you guys may remember Joey from being on a few episodes ago. We were talking about video gaming, but today he is back and we are going to talk about one of the worst days that you can have as a firefighter. And it happened to him over the summer. So I hope you guys can pull something out of it. I hope you enjoy the conversation. So without further ado, here is episode 55 of the Washdown podcast.
What is it? It's a mini, they call it a mini ATX case. So it's probably, compared to my cup, that high, that tall, and then that wide, basically wide enough for a graphics card. And then they make mini motherboards and stuff like that. So I'm going to probably take it to work and stuff so I can play at work. Yeah.
You know, there was a time that, yeah.
They make backpacks and stuff for it too, so it's not like I have to worry about it getting hurt.
Whenever Nelson and I first started working at the same station together the first time, it was right whenever Call of Duty was coming out and really kind of getting big.
Yeah.
So, you know, what was it, 12, 13 years ago now?
Yeah.
He would have his PlayStation in, and it would be me and him in the kitchen with his PlayStation on the TV, and we'd swap off, take turns. Our captain had his PlayStation in his office, and we'd be playing, and you just hear motherfuckers, you know, back and forth between the two. And it was
and that's before I. This was years before I started, but the guys there would be a slow day, and man, they put like 16 hours into freaking the Nazi zombies and stuff like that. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
We used to play at one of the stations I was with. All four of us would sit and play. There was this fantasy game, Norath or something. It was like a Baldur's Gate type thing.
Gotcha.
But you could play 4 players. Dude, there'd be days where it was me and the 2 other firefighters and my driver. If our captain was off, we would sit and play that thing. We'd fire it up at 7 a.m. and we would just play and play and play. We did it one day, and we had talked about it the shift before. It's like, okay, it's going to be the weekend. It's more than likely going to be slow. We're going to game. The weather's going to be crap. You know, we're going to game all day. So we show up to the station. We made like cheese dip and put some like hamburger in it, and that was our food for the day. So like everybody got there at 6 a.m. You know, our shift starts at 7, so we get there at 6. Basically, kick the shift before us out. They're like, "You guys got to go." We went to the store and we're back before 7 o'clock, and we're playing.
Nice.
Yeah. Our chief came by at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. He's like, "I haven't heard from you guys all day." You're fine. Just left. So, but we had like oatmeal cream pie cookies and red vines and just like every nasty gamer junk food you can imagine. And I mean, just played and played and played all day. Woke up the next morning, go home. We come in for the next shift, and we're all just sitting there looking at each other. We're never doing that again. That was horrible. It just felt like crap for 2 days from all the sugar.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've had some days like that. Not at work, but just days where going over and just grinding a game and eating nothing good.
Oh,
anything that you can play and eat at the same time is not good for you.
Yeah.
So
dude, I really, even whenever I was really playing Call of Duty, like probably a year ago or a year and a half ago or whatever, like I would play, I get maybe 4 or 5 games, 6 maybe, and then I'm taking a break. You know, but I mean, those 6 games, it's going to take you an hour and a half. I mean, so it's not like I'm only playing for 15 minutes and then done. And I play for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. And then I'm like, nope, I'll go eat, watch some TV, hang out with the dogs.
Yeah.
Then go back and, you know.
Oh, yeah.
once my wife got home, it was like, okay, time to stop playing for the day.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, especially if I'm streaming, I'm freaking. I try and get it started early so I can end early because I hate whenever Jess comes home from picking up Avery from daycare and I'm still playing. I'm like, I gotta hurry up and finish this up, but I gotta hit a certain timeline. So I'll try and get that knocked out, and then whenever Avery's home, she's just right now she's at this stage where like she's been really energetic when she sees me. So like yesterday, Jess was so pissed off because I'm playing. I'm in the middle of a game, and it was going to be my last game, and I can hear Avery just screaming, and I'm like, oh shit, I got to hurry up and finish this game. And it's a ranked game, so I can't just leave the game. If it was any other game, like because you get penalized if you're playing a ranked and then you leave.
Yeah.
So I was finishing up the game. Finished it up, shut everything down, came upstairs, and she sees me, and she just starts laughing. And just like, are you fucking kidding me? She's like, I've been dealing with a screaming baby for like half an hour, and then you come up, and she's just cheerful as hell. Like, well, that's what dads do. Like, that's it. So she was just cheerful for me the rest of the night. And she's like, that's absolutely dog shit. Like, that's...
Just wait. Just wait. It'll be your turn in the barrel.
Oh, I know. I know. Yeah, when she gets older, I'm gonna have to try and say no to something, and she's gonna hate me. So
you're gonna be wrapped around her finger.
Oh, dude, I know. I already am, and it's ridiculous. So, I mean, there was one day that like I haven't talked to my brother in a while because he lives south, and so I haven't really got to talk to him because he's been busy with work, and I haven't been able to see him as well. And there was one day where I planned on getting off the game, and then he's like, "Hey, I'm on." I was like, "All right, I'll play a couple games with you," just because we haven't had any interaction at all. And shoot, it was like 8:30 by the time I was done, and her bedtime's like 7:40. And I was like, are you kidding me? I literally wasted my entire day, and I didn't get to see her. So usually, like, if I'm getting ready to go on shift, Jess will rock her to sleep and stuff. And I was like, I'm rocking her to sleep tonight. I missed out on everything. I'm going to rock her to sleep. And sure enough, she ended up falling asleep on me, and I fell asleep in the recliner. And it was like 10:30 at night, and Jess comes into her room and was like, are you coming to bed? I was like, yeah, I'm coming to bed. I had to snuggle in. So yeah, but it's been good.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming back on the show.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we were going to talk about something the last time, and
I got long-winded. I watched it, and I was like, oh, my gosh. You could not have dude, like, here, like we discussed before, where you're like, hey, here's point A. We need to get to point B. I took the longest route to B, and I was like, straight to the point.
Hey,
so
you know what though? That's the thing with these type of the long form conversation podcast thing is, and I watch a lot of them. You know, Joe Rogan, Andy Stump, Jocko, all that stuff. Jocko's a little bit more regimented. Yeah. It seems like he kind of, because they're there for a purpose. Yeah. Like it's a specific thing that they're talking about. It's not like we'll talk about several things. It's one point. Yeah. But, I mean, you watch a Joe Rogan podcast, and they'll be all the way over here on the left and then end up all the way over here on the right. You have no idea how they got there. Yeah. I watched, speaking of that, I watched the first time Kevin Hart was on the podcast. Oh, yeah. Last night. And, dude, you want to talk about just all over the place. I mean, it was great. It was a great show, and it was very inspirational, motivational, all that stuff. But yeah, just... That
guy's mind is all over the place, just in general. It's just, dude, but he's a smart guy. I've watched a lot of financial stuff that he follows by. I was like, wow, that's wow. It's just
he was talking about that on the podcast of how he was just starting that. Mm-hmm. He was partnering with J.P. Morgan Chase or whoever, and starting to put together a program.
Yeah.
To get it out to people of, hey, don't do this.
Yeah.
Because it's stupid to run up a credit card and not pay it.
Oh yeah, and that was the thing. Yeah, because he was talking about, he's like, I took, just real quick, here's my paycheck. A certain percent would go to like real estate, like future investments, and then the rest goes over here, like, so he kind of, it's just how like knowing him as the comedian that he is, and then actually looking at him as a like financial responsibility, you're like, okay, wow, that makes a lot more sense, know.
Well, I mean, he doesn't want to end up like MC Hammer.
No, and that's and someone who's like you looking at him, but like hearing him talk, you'd be like surprised at Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah,
that I've been watching a lot on him lately, and that guy is like, first of all, you see him on TV, just about every other commercial.
Oh yeah,
but that's part of the deal. Is like when people come up to him, like the General or what's it?
Papa John's.
Yeah, I mean, so when they come to him and like, hey, we need a face for our product, he's like, I don't. It's not that I don't want to do it, but if I do it, I don't want just getting paid. I want financial gain out of your business.
Yeah.
So I want a part of it. So all these companies like Icy Hot and all these different companies are gonna sign him to be the face for commercials. He's getting more than what most people just do. Like, you look at Subway where you got Steph Curry, Tom Brady, all Trevor Lawrence, all these athletes, and then they're not in like Papa John's. He's one of the chair. He's a chairman on Papa John's, a board member, and then he's taking stake into the company as well, and it's like that's really smart,
you're
because
getting paid on both sides of the table.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, oh man, I wouldn't have ever saw that guy like being that good at, because it's just something that you don't think about. You just see him as an athlete. He's got tons of money from his commercials and stuff like that. But when you actually dig in deep and he talks about, I want part of your company. It's like, oh wow, okay, I didn't see that coming. But yeah.
Well, it's being smart with business.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
yeah, you see how it happens?
Yep.
One little comment.
One comment, dude. And we are in left field.
Yep. This is going to be the episode about money.
Not from me. Not from me. My wife would be like shaking her head right now if she was to watch this. Like, no way is that guy going to be up there for financial stability. No, yeah. So, but yeah, there's a lot. And I'm not good with money. My wife is the saver. So,
yeah. Well, I went through my time of not being good with money, and then, I mean, I'm still not, I wouldn't say I'm great with money, but I'm a lot more frugal.
Yeah.
Than
a little bit more educated as well.
Yeah.
Like as I've gotten older, I've definitely looked at like all these different things that you can do, like, because I can't just rely on one thing being my retirement.
Yeah.
I have to, there's got to be pennies have to be falling in other stuff too. So if I want to be actually retired, to be retired and then go and work full time somewhere else that's not my goal.
That's not retirement.
Yeah, it's not. So, and that's what I don't want. So, yeah. Growing up.
Yeah. Everybody gets their big boy pants at some time. So, some of us, it just takes longer than others.
I know. And that's how I am too. And it kills me because when I look at it, it's like, especially watching all these videos of these millionaires that are millionaires at like 40 because they started at 20 or 25, and I'm like, shoot, dude, I'm 31. I'm behind the ball, way behind the 8 ball. So,
well, I mean, yes and no, because some people don't start till later in life.
Yeah,
they spend their 20s doing whatever, and then it's not till they hit their 30s that they really kind of buckle down or whatever. But it kind of goes back to that knowledge gap. And, Kevin Hart talked about it on the Joe Rogan podcast, and I've heard other people talk about it. But, you only know what you know. and where you grow up and the people you associate with and the things that you learn in school and the things that you learn from your family and friends and all that stuff, there's only so much. You're never going to get every piece of information. So like if your parents weren't big investors and big with money and you didn't have any friends who had parents that instilled that in them or, whatever, then how would you ever know?
Yeah.
It's something that you're going to either innately stumble upon or seek out.
Yeah.
Or you're going to meet somebody at some point in your life. Okay, how did you get to that point? Or what path are you on? And then you got to figure out, okay, well, maybe that works for me too, or I want to do that, or I want to be financially secure or be able to travel or whatever it may be. And you got to just figure out the steps to get there. The whole thing with like starting this podcast, had no clue. I'm like, okay, I watched the Joe Rogan podcast. I watched this one. I watched that one. I watch all these different ones and see how they do everything. Okay, well, that's cool. I kind of know what mics they're using. I see the booms and they're using a camera. They're recording it somehow. I know nothing about video cameras. Okay, well, let's do some research.
Yeah. YouTube's a great thing.
Yeah, YouTube, the internet, and go down that rabbit hole and figure it out. Now, our setup's pretty good. There's some things that I would like to add to it. I would like to do multi-camera so that way, whenever you're talking, it shows you.
Yeah.
Like the camera's on you. And then, whenever I'm talking or Chris is talking or whoever else is talking, like the camera's on them. And then I'd like to have a camera on James. Yeah. Even if it's not plugged in, I still would like to have a camera on him just so he doesn't sit back there and sleep.
Yeah. Accountability.
Yeah.
No, and that's the thing. It comes with, time and money. So it's just one of those things. It's like you want to invest more into this because this is something that you're really passionate about. There's something that you're really, really putting a lot of effort into, and of course you want to it makes the followers feel good that you're up in your game. You're working on things to make it better. You're not just sitting back and be like, this is as good as we're gonna get. So just don't expect any more. But as far as people following whether it's streaming or podcasts, they want to see improvement.
Yeah, and
that's it. So time and money.
Yep. Well, and effort.
Yes.
And that's what it boils down to. Is I put a post on our Facebook thing the other day about the new year and, motivation and discipline. And, I really believe that motivation will get you started, but motivation isn't going to carry you to your goal.
No.
Discipline, because motivation fades.
Yeah.
Anybody that started a new workout program can tell you, yes, I am motivated. It's the first of the year. I'm going to get in shape. Well, they're motivated for about a week.
Yep.
2 weeks, maybe a month. Then that motivation fades. So, well, I'll skip today. Well, I got a lot going on. I'm not going to make it to the gym today. Well, man, how long's it been since I've been to the gym? Oh, it's been 2 months. Shit. But if you just are disciplined and make it part of your daily routine.
Yeah.
So, and you can even apply that to mental health. So with like meditation or self-reflection or all of that stuff, just make it part of your daily routine and be disciplined about it. Then you're going to reap the benefits of it.
Yeah.
Because, and that's the thing with guys will go, and girls, whatever. I use the term guys. Don't crucify me for it. It's a generic. It doesn't mean anything.
I do the same.
It's just a generic.
I do the same. I'm not pointing out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People will go into recovery or whatever, and they'll come out and they'll be motivated to, yes, I have kicked this addiction, I've kicked this problem, or I'm motivated to change, blah, 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 blah. And they go through and go through and go through, and then it starts falling off the wayside until finally, they're back drinking again, or they're back doing this, or they're back doing that, because they didn't take and turn that motivation into discipline.
Yeah.
Because that's the second half of the equation that a lot of people just they don't follow through with.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's something that I kind of did after that call was, I told myself, I was like, I'm not going to rely on alcohol. Not going to drink. Not that I was a big drinker before. I mean, maybe a weekend a month or 2 weekends a month that I would actually drink, but
it's like you're in the guard.
Yeah, yeah. But and that's the thing. So like I told myself, I was like, I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to rely on alcohol to help me ease anything. So because I don't want to go down that path of it taking over. So I was like, I'm just not going to. I'm just let's do everything natural. Whether it's going to therapy or talking things out. That's what I did. So
yeah. So let's talk about the call, man. So
okay.
This is. I'll preface it by saying this is probably, for most firefighters, would be the worst day that you could possibly have on the job, or in the top 2.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was July 14th. I'll probably never forget that day. So, and sorry if I'm smiling. It's not, or if I'm laughing. It's not anything against it. It's not that I'm playing it off. It's just one of those things that, I've gone through therapy with this, and I can't dwell on it anymore. It's got to be one of those things. So I'm not insensitive to the whole situation. It's like I said, it's something that eats at you. So it was July 14th. It was. We ran a structure fire, got toned out for a structure fire. It was one of those, typical mornings. Actually was able to get to the gym early in the shift. I was like, yeah, man, it's a workout before lunch.
It's going to be a great day, Tater.
Yeah, exactly, man. I was like, man, this is going to be a good day. I'm getting a good pump because, just really had that energy right at the beginning. Got most of our stuff done early. And then our tones dropped around 11 o'clock. I was driving that day, and we get toned out to a structure fire. And halfway to the fire, we've got MDTs in our rigs, and multiple notes came across saying 3 kids trapped inside. It's like, my captain looks over at me. He's like, "This is the real deal. Like, there's." Not only is it coming over the radio, but it's all over the notes. So me just having the adrenaline that I was having, because a fire. We don't run a lot, but when we do, man. So I'm hauling ass. At that point, my foot became a cinder block. I mean, it wasn't leaving the gas for nothing. So we get on scene. We're third pumper in.
Move the mic back just a little bit. There you go.
So we get on scene, and we're third.
Too far.
How about that? We good?
A little closer.
Oh, that good? Right there?
So you want to be in the yellow.
Oh, I thought it was in the yellow.
You were, but then you were in the red a lot.
My bad. So we're third pumper in. At that point, I'm expecting to go inside, so I'm starting to get my gear on and everything like that. And dude, I'm hearing screaming. I can't where I pulled off. So I didn't turn down the street where the house was because it was the second house from the corner. So I went down the main drag so that our truck can get.
Right.
Have first priority because there was already 2 pumpers there. So the truck has to have a spot.
Yeah.
So I pulled off to the side, and I'm getting my gear on. I can't see anything, but I just hear screaming. Just bloody murder screaming. Just help my kids. Get my kids. And at that point, like, it's really, really hitting me like shit. It's go time, you know. So I'm got my stuff. I'm going in, going up. They tell us that they want us to ladder the B side of the house. Going. So we got the ladder up. I'm masking up. My fireman actually had a slight issue with his mask. One of the straps came undone in the transport, so he had to put that on. And I said, "Hey, I'll jump up there." Going up to the window, smashing the window as much as I could. So it was just a wooden window. So I'm like, two hits max. I'm like 7 hits in. I'm like, dude, what in the hell is going on? Well, I found out that the headboard of the bed was up against the frame of the window, and that's what I was having struggles with. So I just broke out that middle section, sweeped it, and then I jumped in on the bed. I was like, fuck it. At this point,
yeah,
there's still kids inside.
Yeah.
Who cares? Like, I don't care if I cut my stuff up. I got to get inside. So I jump in on the bed, roll off the bed, kind of search that room that I was in. Nothing. I see one of the other units. They have a kid in their arms, and they're going down the stairs out the front door. Cool. Hey, what do we got? There's one kid somewhere else. Okay. So the room that they just left with a kid, I just dropped to my knees, looking around, kind of trying to look under the bed, feel what I can, just in case if he's still in there. Work my way across the hall, and I see they had a Jack and Jill type of bathroom where it was one individual room for the sinks, and then the toilet and the tub had its own room. Mm-hmm. Well, saw the sinks, saw the door was closed, feeling it, opened it up, and I see a pair of white feet. And happened to be the 2-year-old. There was a 2, 6, and a 10, 10-year-old that were in the home at the time of the fire. And so I found him. I can't radio because with the situation, like, drivers usually on our department don't have like geek mics. We do now because of this situation.
Yeah.
So I didn't have time to like get my radio out of my pocket.
And I'll stop you for a second. Yeah. It's one of those things where I get it. It's a protocol. You want a radio that you're coming out. Mm-hmm. But also in that moment, it's a waste of 10 seconds.
Yeah. No, and that's exactly how I felt. Like, I was like, I didn't even reach for it. I was like, hey, I yelled, "Hey, I've got one." Picked him up, and I'll probably never forget the gasp of air when I picked him up, just because he was in between the toilet and the door kind of situation. He was kind of in just a weird spot, so it's not like I could pick him up like a baby.
Yeah.
At first, so I had to scoot him down, pick him up, and then when I just felt like just air just leaving him, and so I've got him going down the stairs. At this point, I don't even give a shit about where I came from, where my crew's at. My goal, like, not trying to do the whole freelance bullshit, but I saw a crew before me go down the stairs and to the right, where I knew where a door was. I wasn't going to worry about my crew member and my captain. I found a kid. I'm getting out.
Well, yeah. I mean, and you've been a fireman long enough. You can walk up to a house with a certain degree of certainty, look at the house and go, I know where the stairs are.
Yep. Yeah.
Because there's tells, when you walk up to a front door, you see where the window is, you can look and see, okay, I know the stairs are this side of the door or that side of the door or whatever. And you're generally pretty safe in that assumption.
Yeah.
It was faster and better tactically for you to do that than to try to retrace your steps, go back to that bedroom, get that victim on a ladder, hope somebody's still there.
Yeah.
Because you don't know.
Yeah.
They could have came in behind you and went left and you went right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you did the right thing.
So So I've got him, and I'm working my way down the stairs, and I'll come back at an angle, a different angle kind of situation after. So I go down the stairs, and I come up against a hose line. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I'm like trying to step over this hose line, and I get down the stairs, and I'm getting like just what felt like a straight stream just blasting me in the face. And I'm like, what the is going on? And I was like, hey, shut that line down. And come to find out, it was actually the first 50-foot section of their crosslay blew. So there was no shutting it down.
Yeah.
When I look at I was like, what jackass is blowing a line in my face? It's just a hose. So
Dude.
So at that point, I'm covering up the boy, and go. I run outside, get outside, start doing chest compressions. My crew, my ladder crew, they had just gotten back inside and in the living room and saw me leaving with the kid, and they followed me right back out to help me with CPR. We're doing chest compressions. I strip my stuff off because I'm gonna try and work on this kid. So I'm stripping my stuff off, go and get airway bags and stuff, and so my truck captain and the truck fireman are working on this kid while I'm going to getting bags and kind of having a cool down in that process. So they're working on him. I got bags. We're putting him on oxygen, all that stuff, and the 10-year-old got put in an ambulance, and then the 6-year-old was in another ambulance, but we were short on ambulances. So in the dire situation, they were like, "Hey, load him up. Let's put him in an ambulance." So they grabbed the 2-year-old and bring him to the same ambulance that the 10-year-old was in. Well, they're over capacity, clearly. We got 2 patients in the back of that ambulance, and another ambulance was, I think they said 6 minutes out. So that's critical.
That's too far.
Yeah. So at that point, with that many patients, we've got people like my truck driver comes to my BC and was like, "Hey, they don't have a driver for this ambulance. He's back there working with the medic on taking care of these kids." And I was like, my previous department, I had an ambulance. So I was like, fuck it. So I just stripped the rest of my shit off, and I just jumped in the ambulance, and we went. I ran hot to, hospital, and I was hauling ass. It's one of those things that you got 2 kids in the back. They're doing everything that they can. I've got to do everything I can to get them to the help that they need. So it was one of those, we ended up getting there en route about halfway to the hospital. The 10-year-old, they called the 10-year-old. And then we got to the hospital and brought the 2-year-old inside. And about 15 minutes after we got him inside, he passed away. And then actually a day later, the 6-year-old passed away. So we had 3 pediatrics die in that fire, and it tore me up. I was sitting in the hospital, just doing whatever I can. At this point, hospital staff has them. There's nothing I can do but just sit and wait. Especially not in my district, so I'm waiting for my battalion chief to come pick me up.
Yeah.
And I have a radio. I don't have my cell phone in my gear, because I was working out. All my stuff's either at the station or in the truck. So it's at that point where I was like, I have no communication. So after the 2-year-old got called, I called my wife, and I was bawling. And I was like, "Hey, it's going to be a while before you hear from me, but just letting you know I'm at the hospital." And she's like, "What happened?" And I was like, "I'll tell you later. It's not good." I was like, "I'm fine. Our crews are fine. We're just you know. And so she's like, okay, just call me when you can. Cool. I'm getting tore up, you know, doing everything I could. And the nursing staff was just amazing because they kept coming up to, hey, is there anything that you guys need? Like, you guys need waters? Or I was like, I know where the EMS room is. I'll just go get a snack if I need it. So they were very good about the ones that weren't doing much in the room. You know, were tending to us to make sure that we were okay, because it wasn't just me and my truck fireman. It was, you know, there was 3 other crews basically there. Yeah. And so we're all just like basically just waiting right outside the room, seeing what's going to happen. And so again, going through all that, it was rough. Got back to the station. We did a debriefing there at the hospital.
You guys did one right there at the hospital?
Yeah. So I don't know the position that this white shirt was. He was definitely not a battalion chief at any point. He was up, and he was just kind of saying, hey, good job with what you guys did, like with everything that happened kind of situation. We'll try and keep everyone in the loop. Not necessarily a full debrief kind of situation. All so right. It was just more of a, we did everything that we could. You know, and basically just make sure you know that people are there for you. Yeah. And make sure, because this is one of the toughest calls you'll ever run. And so my battalion chief came, picked us up. We went back. We went back to our truck station. It's in the middle of our district, because all 3 of our units were on that fire, but my unit and the truck were the first, one of the first ones there. And we're discussing it, talking about what we could have done, and what was going on, like what was happening. So apparently so here's the different angle that I was talking about, was that apparently 2 of the 2 50-foot sections of both crosslays on the one unit burst due to heat, is what I was told. And so I mean, it happens. It happens. Yeah. I'm not faulting anyone on that. It's just it's one of those things that happens. So like, but that kind of gives you a little bit of the scenario of like how I didn't really realize how hot it was, because again, I was in an area where it wasn't really involved. I was searching, and when I found the 2-year-old, I was out. For me, everyone was discussing about how hot that fire was. I don't remember how hot it was. I truly don't. So and that was the case. Both lines burst, and again, no one's fault. It's just, it happens. You know, no one expects to go into that hot of a situation right off the rip. You know. Yeah. So, but I don't remember how. I mean, I remember coming back from the hospital because bomb and arson was there. They needed to have a statement from me, and gave my statement. And then they did their investigation. So, as far as, I mean, as intense as they talked about the fire, I mean, it was a pretty good stop from what I saw. I mean, it was basically the kitchen and the living room were gone, but the rooms were still fine. So, but yeah, we go back to the station. We're all talking about it. We're talking about what could have been better, or different things. And I told them, I was like, straight up, I was like, hey, I wasn't trying to freelance. I was trying to get out. That was it. I knew I saw a crew before me go out that same way, and I was going to go. That's just, I was committed at that point. I wasn't going to mess with the window. I wasn't going to mess with the ladder. I was done. You know, I was in and out. That was, but coming from the battalion chief, the other battalion chief on the scene, we got all 3 kids out in under 3 minutes. So with how rocking that house was going, I mean, it was a pretty good time in my eyes, at least.
It's a phenomenal time, and the sad fact of it is that, you know, 3 minutes. You just think about that. From the time you showed up on scene till the time you got them out, 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. That's nothing. And 3 minutes is gone. what you have to remember is, when did the fire get called in? It made its way through dispatch. Then it took you how many minutes to get there? I mean,
Yeah.
Those are minutes and seconds that you can't do anything about.
Yeah.
And you're never going to get them back. And there's no piece of technology that's going to allow us to get there any faster than what we do.
No, and that's the thing. It's just and that's what bugged me. I mean, it happened to be like the worst week for me. I only say that because not that things were really going bad, but like it was a Wednesday. So that previous Sunday, I went to the hospital for my almost 3-month-old because we were afraid that she had RSV. And me being a new dad, that came into effect. It was the 14th, which was the first day that she went to daycare. So it's just like everything's hit me at once, and the dad feelings are really amping everything up. And so, I got home, or I got back to the station. I called my wife and just kind of kept her in the loop, like, hey, this is what's going on. And she's like, okay, well, let me know if there's anything you need. Well, after we did our little debrief with our department, they just sent us home. They're like, hey, you guys need to go home. We're going to cover, we'll get the shifts covered. Don't worry about it. Just go home and be with your families. And so on my way home, I told my wife, I was like, hey, they sent us home. This is what happened. Can you go get Avery from daycare? Yeah. So she got her back. By the time I got home, she was already home with Avery, and I'll probably never forget that hug. Not that she could really, understand it, but I didn't want to let her go. And it was one of those things where it was rough. Like, it was, constantly, I didn't want to let her go. I didn't want, my wife's usually, she was still breastfeeding at the time, and my wife was like, hey, I need to feed her. I'm like, I really don't want to let her go, but yeah. It was just hard.
Yeah.
So, and as far as the whole mental side of it, I ended up being off work for about a month and a half. It was probably I want to say it's 10 shifts or so, 10, 12 shifts. But I was off work for a little bit and started going to therapy and talking about things. And it wasn't, so again, that call happened in July. It was probably the week before Thanksgiving that I got released from therapy. So everything's been good. My biggest issue was going through therapy was trying to let go and make sure, and me not thinking I could have done better.
Dude, you have no idea how common that is and how much of a pitfall and a trip hazard that is for people in our line of work.
Oh yeah.
Because it's always, and we've talked about it before, of we're supposed to be the ones that we save everybody. That's what we're trained to do. We don't handle failure very well whenever it comes to something like that. And I'm not saying that was failure, but
a loss of a life is a failure in our eyes.
Right. So even me just talking about it, using those terms.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where, you have to be able to accept that you did everything that you could possibly do. Everything your training allowed you to do, your protocols allowed you to do, time itself. There's no way that anything could have been done better. It was never going to work out or be the outcome that we want it to be.
Yeah. No, and that was it. That was like I said, that was my biggest hang up in therapy was there anything else I could have, dude, I ran that call through my head millions of times. No exaggeration. Just in the month and a half I was off, I ran through that call a million times, easy, because I'm looking at every angle. I'm trying to think about every single advantage that I could have used. Shit. I spent probably a week pissed off at myself because how long it took me to fucking realize that the headboard of the bed was stopping me from gaining access. That's seconds right there that we could save a kid, So everything was eating at me. Everything was just bugging me. And that's, that's part of like what I was going through. It's like my wife is probably the most solid support I could ever ask for. I'm very blessed to have her in my life. And not that it didn't matter whether she was in a supporting role or just asked me a question. I snapped at her multiple times because it just eats at you. It eats at you from the inside, and I felt terrible that I snapped at her just because I'm irritated at myself, and again, it sucks, and because then at that point she's emotionally and mentally exhausted trying to help me, but also trying to take care of my 3-month-old at the time, and she's walking on eggshells thinking,
where'd my husband go?
Yeah, and like, what can I say without pissing him off?
Yeah.
And I felt terrible. And so the time, between July and Thanksgiving, the basic thing, like after getting over all of that, it just came down to residual stuff, which is something I never even thought about until talking to my therapist, because I told, he's like, how's things going? Oh, good. Some asshole just, cut me off on the way here, and I just thought about it for like the whole trip. And he's like, that's residual shit from what you just went through. I was like, those kids didn't cut me off in the damn car. Like, why am I pissed off? Like, why does that have anything to do with it? And he's like, no, it's just like, it just, say that for me, we'll put our like, our emotional irritation level on a 1 to 10 scale. I'd probably say I'm pretty laid back. I feel like I am. There's things I get kind of worked up about, but I'd probably give myself a 1 to 3, depending on the day, is where I'm at. Pretty calm. I was sitting at like an 8, 9, and it didn't take me much to get to a 10 at that point because, again, like someone cut me off, or if someone's driving too slow in the left-hand lane, or it's just like anything. I mean, someone bumps into me at the grocery store. It's just like, everything just gets you, and I didn't even think that it was related until therapist talks to me about it. I'm like, makes sense. Yep. I mean, I wasn't like that before. I am now, but like when you actually sit down and think about it, you're like, wow, okay, this is really like spiderwebbing out a lot further than I was expecting.
Yeah, dude, it moves out and touches every aspect of your life.
Yeah. No, it was one of those things that, and things have gotten a lot better. I'm back down to, my 1 to 3 range again, depending on the day, but but
if we're talking about softball.
Yeah, right. That'll get you above a 5.
Yeah.
But and that's the thing. So and I still think about it. I don't think about it every day. I mean, it was at the point where any free moment I had, I ran through that call.
Yeah.
Whether I mow yards on the side. That's mindless work.
That's plenty of time for your mind to just go down that rabbit hole. And dude, I'll tell you, like, the thing is, you're never going to forget about that call. You're going to think about it. It's going to pop up. The purpose of going through the therapy and doing all that work, though, is that whenever that memory does pop up, the emotions that are attached to it aren't what they were at the beginning.
Yes.
Because, there are still calls from, I've been on 17 plus years. Yeah. And there are calls that I ran whenever I had 6 months on the job, a year on the job, that still pop up every now and then, that something will happen, or I'll drive by a certain portion of the city, or, whatever, and it'll pop into my head. And it's like, oh, that happened there. But that's all it is for me now. Is yes, I ran that call. It sucked, and then able to move on. It's not the God damn it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that anymore.
No, and that's it. You know, I haven't really gone past that house. Not because I haven't wanted to. It's just it's not an area that I travel. So, but when I was going through therapy, I drove past a couple times just to kind of see what was going on and how it was going to emotionally trigger me, and really it didn't do too much. I mean, I just honestly I just went back to what I did. You know, what did I do in that whole situation?
Yeah.
And was it everything I could have done? And that was it. But like, you know, I've gone through fatality wrecks or you know, codes and stuff like that. And it just this one just really like not only was it really bad having pediatrics involved and multiple of them, but the rest of those calls kind of came back out of the woodwork too.
Yep.
And that
all
was,
that stuff you never dealt with.
Well,
you just no, it's fine.
Yeah, it's not going to get to me. Nothing's going to bother me. No,
Yeah.
I mean, freaking all those. I'm telling you, it was just memories just kept coming up from. Not only was it that fire that kept coming up, but like ATV accidents or just anything, just all the shit that we see, and the things that we see, nobody really you're. In a lifetime, you probably have to deal with that once or twice.
Yeah.
But for us, I mean, depending on where you're at,
you're dealing with it once a shift.
Yeah.
Once a week.
Yeah, once a week, once a month. I mean, it's just depending on what you're doing. But
yeah,
it's mentally and emotionally tolling. And unfortunately, we're not the only ones that suffer. It's our family that suffers as well. After going through what I went through, I didn't want to be around my 4-year-old niece. I didn't want to be around any kid besides my own. And because, I thought about, I went out to Costco one day, and just everyone irritated the piss out of me. Dude, I'm telling you, like, they got big carts. They got a lot of stuff there, right?
Yeah.
These carts, it's like people just park right in the middle of the aisle, and I just got so worked up. Now, granted, it's a pet peeve of mine anyway. Stick to one side, let people pass. But but this time it was a busy day. It was it was like towards the weekend, so of course it's busy like Thursday, Friday situation. But like everything just pissed me off at Costco. I was like, we got to go. This is just bugging me way too much. So then we go to a burger place right after that. Like, we're on our way home, and I see this little girl just sit down, and I'm like, that's the same size of the kid that I picked up, and I'm like, that was what was going through my head at that point. It's like I didn't want to be around that. So I just kind of sheltered myself after that.
We're very good avoiders.
Yes.
Because that's kind of what we're taught to do, that under the guise of compartmentalization, because you have to rely on your training, get the job done. Okay, that's fine. And that's true. We have to. Like, you go on that fire call or that car wreck or whatever, you can't sit there and just break down and be, we
got a job to do.
You have a job to do. People rely on you.
Yeah.
The part that we suck at is once that job is done, take that shit out, process it, move through it so that you're not sitting at a burger joint with your family and somebody walks in and that happens.
Yeah.
So what tends to happen is we start avoiding, the shit at work, then it spills over into home. It's a vicious snowball.
Yeah, and that was the thing. I mean, when I was realizing how I was kind of just getting irritated at everything, I just kind of, and that was the thing. I went down to my basement and turned on my PC, and I was just playing games. It was something that was, it took something to kind of just think about, but that was the only thing I could really focus on, was just that it got my mind away from things, but it wasn't necessarily mindless stuff. It was just basically focusing on something else.
Right.
Just keep the old noggin occupied with something.
Avoid.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, dude, it sucked. It was, going through the fire academy, and but even before, you see these movies or these shows, and you see these firemen like pull kids out of burning buildings, and like, oh yeah, look at the hero. Like, after being a fireman, you realize that no one likes that word.
Yeah.
No one likes the hero word. But like, and after pulling a kid out of a fire, I wouldn't wish that on anyone. I really wouldn't. I mean, especially, dude, if one of those kids was able to be like saved, that good on you. You guys did awesome. That is amazing work. But the odds with the situation that was going on, dude, I wouldn't wish that on anyone in their career.
Yeah.
Because
every single thing that could have been stacked against you was stacked against you.
Yes. No, and I'm not yeah, it's just one of those things that you do look at it and you're like, man, this is one of those like highlights of your career kind of situation, to kind of like as far as the biggest thing that I got out of this whole call was first fire that I've had an occupant inside. So, I've been tested as far as like being able to force some doors open, like put the fire out, do my search, do all that stuff that I need to do, but like never ran into actually having a victim inside. But knowing that, going in, finding a victim, being able to perform the tasks that I need to perform, that's where I came across as it was a success in that in our minds, because there's people that haven't been, I'm going to call it battle tested in a way for the fire service, where you look at it and you're like, man, I don't know if I could do that if it came down to it, because it's not, we train in controlled environments all the time about shit like this.
Oh yeah.
But
how many times you saw somebody crawl over a dummy?
Yeah,
doing a search.
Yeah, exactly. So you're like, so for me, I look at it and I'm like, okay, I'm able to do the job. Like this right here solidified the fact that I can do the job, because that's always been my biggest worry was, yeah, you run fires, you put them out. You do a good job, you do all the work that needs to be done in that time, but like when it comes down to actually like pulling a victim out, now granted, I got lucky. In a way, I'm saying I got lucky because I had a 2-year-old that wasn't heavy, Now, if it was an obese person, where it's going to probably take me and maybe 2 other people, that would definitely be a big test, because how much are we going to spend time on getting so-and-so out? But for it to go into a situation where there's the house is, still rocking and rolling, being able to find a victim and get them out, I'm going to chalk it up. Now I've gotten to the point after my therapy. Now I'm chalking it up as a win, because I was able to do my job, and I'm still here, still here to try and help the citizens that we have as much as I can. So, you got to find the positives out of the worst situations. And that was my positive. I was able to complete my task that was given to me, and was able to do everything I thought I could do. So.
Well, absolutely, dude. I mean, and that's what it boils down to, really. Yeah. I mean, it's being able to go in and, like I made the joke, how many times you see people trip over dummies or whatever.
No.
Whenever we're practicing.
Yeah.
We smoke up the tower or turn all the lights out at the station or whatever, and we've got the dummy setting out in the most obvious place.
Oh, yeah.
And
good example going through the fire academy. We did the same thing. We had a room smoked up. I mean, you couldn't see anything. One of our classmates grabbed the baby dummy and just threw it because he thought it was a piece of furniture. Literally threw it across the room, and my instructor with the tick is like, "What the fuck did you just do?" And so yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like, dude, you just think it's because you say, not knowing the living conditions, you run into that situation. You're like, it's garbage.
Yeah.
No, that was a baby. You just flung a baby across the room.
Dude, we had to do this drill. Have you ever been down to our academy?
No, I have not.
All right. So we've got this. Basically, it's almost like it's not quite a U shape, but it's this box tunnel thing.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and inside of it, it's got slanted walls that kind of, and so you got to kind of crawl through it.
The CPAT's got it.
Yeah, it's for the CPAT.
Yeah.
So we were doing this drill while we were in the academy. Mm-hmm. Everybody full gear, blacked out, even though in there you don't need to be blacked out because it's pitch black. You can't see anyway. So one student, one cadet is the victim. You crawl in and lay down somewhere.
Yeah.
The next person crawls in behind you, finds you, and takes you out the other side. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty straightforward drill.
Yeah.
We had a guy in my class, goes in, lays down. The guy that's supposed to be rescuing him comes in right behind him, crawls over the top of him, and comes out the side. Is he even in there? Like, now, for everybody watching that doesn't know, like, I could probably do this and touch both sides of that wall. Like, there's no way that you can crawl around somebody and not feel them. I mean, it's maybe a person and a half wide.
Yeah. I would say it's smaller. If it's the one like where I did the CPAT, it's probably no wider than this table.
Yeah.
And
so, but you bring up the point of, you're going into a house you've never been in before. And I mean, obviously that's every fire that we go in. Yeah. It's not like, hey, your house is going to catch on fire tomorrow, so we're going to come in and do a pre-plan.
Yeah.
That's not how shit works.
Yeah.
So people don't put furniture where you think it should be. And, it's dark, it's smoky, it's hot. You don't know the exact layout of where stuff is. To be able to go in and, we drill and we have certain techniques that we use of, staying on the wall and all of that. There's a bunch of different ones that makes it easier for us. But to be able to do all that stuff and get all three kids out in 3 minutes, I mean, dude, that's just ridiculous. I mean, that's super fast.
And that was the thing. After discussing with the other BC that was there, he's been on the job for a while, and he's gone through a lot of stuff, especially being with a lot bigger department. For him to reach out to me and find me, it was like, hey, you did a great job. There wasn't much that could have been done better. There wasn't anything really that could be done better. And for someone with that much experience to say that, it really helped me kind of really get over it.
Put it in perspective.
Yeah. I mean, we did everything we could. And that was going through my therapy, we did the EMDR, which I can't remember what it stands for, but it's not like I could really pronounce one of the words anyways.
It's motor desensitization something.
Yeah. So
I don't remember. I should know this because my wife is certified in that, so I should know.
But that's the thing. So like, I've never done it.
Yeah.
This was the first time I've done it. And going through the same, like he's just, hey, walk through the call with me. And I'm telling him everything. He's like, hey, how's it smell? Like, what's it smell like in there? What's it feel like in there? And dude, it's weird because you're able to think about that shit. Like, for me, I kind of fast forward through it now, like through the window, one room, out. That was it. Those were my steps, and shortened up. But when he stopped, he's like, "Hey, let's just stop right here. Let's stop in this room right here. What do you feel? What do you smell?" And I was like, "Of course, I've got my mask on, so I can't smell anything."
Yeah.
So, but I'm feeling clothes. I'm feeling bed sheets. I'm feeling the wood bed frame and stuff like that. I'm feeling everything. And I can feel it on the tip of my fingers, like actually going through this process, and it works. I mean, you gotta. It's one of those things that I've heard. I was really hesitant about going in because I've heard it works great, or it really jacked me up. And the ones that told me that it jacked them up, they're like, I didn't let it really process the way it was supposed to process. Like they were just kind of just trying to rush through it.
Yeah.
Let it take its time. Take the time to get it done. And I thought it was gonna be like a one EMDR session and it was fixed. No, I did it like 3 or 4 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And I mean, the biggest thing that he had me focus on was there anything else that you could have done better? No.
Well, that was your sticking point.
That was my sticking point because I was like, I felt like I could have done something a lot better. I could have done better. But then I finally got to the point where after we're going through all my emotions on everything that happened, step by step, where, hey, how are you feeling during this time? I'm anxious. I'm trying to find a kid, and then finally getting to the point where you're like, wow, there wasn't anything I could have done. There wasn't, and just like you said, I mean, 3 minutes from the time that we show up to the time that we got those kids out was close to 3 minutes, if under the 3 minutes. I was told it was under 3 minutes, but I didn't look at the times. But it is impressive when you really look at it because it's 3 kids in separate rooms. Mm-hmm. It's not like they were just stacked up on top of each other. It's just, you're searching different rooms, trying to find the rooms. Again, what we think is a certain layout, when we walk up, we've been firemen long enough where we know where we kind of think the layout is. Mm-hmm. Dude, you don't know what remodels people go through.
Absolutely.
I mean, dude, there could be like that bathroom could have been a suite.
Yep.
For all I've known, because they could have just knocked out another wall to the closet to make it part of the suite. It's just, so there's just different things that I've gone through. Talking to my therapist, going through therapy, because as far as what I've heard back in the day, they're just like, hey, rub some dirt on it, you're fine, get over it, and yep. that's the thing, and nothing against that, but it's just like, I don't want to be a fireman for 20 years, and then as I'm getting close to retirement, all that shit sneaks up on me.
Mm-hmm. Or, you be a fireman for 20 plus years and go through a couple marriages, have a drinking problem, couch surfing because you ain't got no money because,
alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing. And that was why.
That's the suck it up and rub some dirt on it. That's what that leads to.
Yeah. And that's, and honestly, I mean, and my real dad had my real dad, my biological father, who I call my dad is my stepdad. He's been my dad. My biological father was a raging alcoholic, and I didn't want any of those kind of tendencies to kind of, not that I believe that it happens, but I just wanted to stray away from alcohol, period.
There's some genetic predisposition.
And I just didn't want to
can't discount it.
Yeah, and I just didn't want to take the risk. For me, I just didn't want to take the risk. I wanted to go about it clean. If I'm going to go and get this done, I'm going to talk to my therapist, I'm going to talk to my wife, I'm going to hang out with my child, and that's how it happened. That's how the recovery, I mean, I had a great support system with my parents, my in-laws, everyone knew what I was going through, and everyone thought about every situation, like as far as like when it came to family get-togethers where there's a bunch of kids in the same fucking age range. Like, hey, we're gonna go do like cousin hangout night
at Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, and there's like 10 fucking kids at the same age that I just dealt with. I'm like, I don't want to go.
Yeah,
like that just doesn't sound fun to me right now. And And then but like she, my wife also pushed it a little bit just because she knew I could handle it. She's a smart woman. She's got a biology degree and a psychology degree, and so she kind of knew what I was going through. And sometimes, like my parents, my sister actually just moved in town at that time, back in town, and my 5-year-old niece was there at their house, and they're like, "Hey, come over and see your niece." And I was like, I don't wanna. Like, just nothing against it. Not that because I haven't seen her in a while. She lived in North Carolina, so it's not like I was able to get out there very often. And it wasn't against her or it wasn't against my sister. It was just, I just wanted to be in a controlled situation where it was me, my wife, and my kid. Those were what I can control.
It's where you felt safe.
Yes, and so because the last time I saw my niece, she looked up to me, and the last thing I want is for her to feel like I'm terrified of her. I mean, what kind of role model is that where you're just like, get away from me, kid? It's just, so that was one thing I didn't want to do, so we kind of eased into it. And then as we were getting through therapy, that's when my wife was like, hey, let's give it a shot and see. And, like the pool party I was telling you, the cousin night or cousin day, where all these kids like, hey, I can ride home with my parents if I need to. If you need to leave, just leave. I was like, all right, cool. And that day was all right. I mean, it wasn't bad. Again, wasn't drinking, just drank water and sat by the side of the pool, and that was it. Just kind of, I stayed to myself. I didn't really go. Usually I kind of go out and try and have a conversation with somebody, but, I didn't really want to have a conversation with anyone because honestly, I didn't want to be there, but it was good for me to be in that situation. Yeah. So,
well, isolation is it's another one of those things that kind of is a big detriment. And, you get into that space where you're going through a bunch of stuff and you don't want to be around people. You want to isolate. You want to be by yourself. It's very counterproductive, because your mind is telling you, we don't want to be around anybody. We're just going to be sit over here in our corner.
Yeah.
Well, then all of that other stuff starts. It just builds and builds and builds. So there's a lot of research on connection and being involved and all of that stuff that helps kind of stave off all that stuff.
Yeah, and it helped. I mean, we were just easing into it, and the biggest thing I was just worried about was with my niece coming back in town. I just didn't want her to be scared of me because of how I reacted in that, because it doesn't take much to scare a small child. Mm-hmm. Especially with us being bigger adults, they don't know what to expect, and they're just like,
right,
I don't want to be around Uncle Joe, So, yeah. And the last thing, so that was my last thing that I wanted. But, as things were going through, and as I was going through therapy, it got a lot better. And of course, now being out of therapy, it's been good. I can talk about it and not get super emotional like I was, or not think back to, could I have done better, or what could I have done to change the outcome? Nothing. It was all out of my control. There was, my training did everything it was supposed to do in that situation. I can tell you, I wouldn't wish, after going through it, I wouldn't wish anyone to do that. It's, but yeah, it was rough. And
yeah, I mean, kid calls always are, man.
Yeah, it's just, well, and that was the thing. I mean, and that's the thing. It was actually about 3 months before my daughter was born, I ran a call where it was a 7-month-old that was having difficulty breathing. Well, when we showed up, the dad was like, I literally just gave her CPR and she's back. And I was like, what? Like, what happened was that the kid was crying so much that she just passed out.
Yeah.
And Don was like, dude, I'm about to have a kid in like 3 months. And like, dude, and I'll let you, I mean, man, it really, after having a kid and going through this, first of all, I feel like, now this is just me, I was hoping that Chris was going to be here so I could kind of bounce some ideas off of him. But for me, being a first responder and a dad, some of the shit that we see gets us more paranoid.
Oh, I can definitely see that. Because,
dude, there's nights where my baby like sleeps well through the night. She sleeps most of the night. And that's terrifying for me. Because
you're up checking, aren't you?
Dude, I am up probably maybe three times a night. Not every night, but there's nights where, man, it just creeps in my head like, is she okay? Like this morning, I woke up at 5:30. I usually wake up at 5:30 for work, but it's my day off. I woke up at 5:30. And I creep into my daughter's room and like looking, and I was like, man, she's out. So I put my hand on her back, and I feel the slight raise. I was like, all right, cool, you're breathing, we're good. Yeah. But that's the thing, dude. It's just I get so paranoid of everything, shit way out of my control, and that's and it's terrifying.
Yep.
So. That's where I've kind of looked at it, like being a first responder and a parent it's just a lot. It's a lot of emotions. It's a lot of thinking. And again, I'm super paranoid for like the off the wall shit. Just seriously, like you could have the best conditions and like we go through pediatric training all the time. Like like we got to run, hey, what do we do in the pediatric version of environmental emergencies, or what do we do in the pediatric version of a cardiac arrest, stuff like that. So it's just like, we always run into that situation. So of course I'm having a fucking just a menu of shit coming down. Like, oh man, what's going, what? Like it just, and dude, I'm not gonna lie, there was times where I'm rocking her to bed and I bawled. I broke down. There was one night specifically. I can't remember how long it was after the call, but there was one night specifically that I can remember where I'm rocking her and she's falling asleep and my wife comes in and I am bawling because I put myself in that position of if that was my daughter, like where would I be? And that's that was my biggest struggle getting over it was I need to be there for my daughter, but like if something was to happen to her, like, because again, we're running through so many different situations as far as the shit that we see or the shit that we hear about. It could be a training way above my scope, but someone talked about, hey, they have a pediatric this. I'm like, I didn't even know that could happen to babies, and thanks for putting that on the list. Like, great. No, something else I have to worry about. And dude, and that's it. I'm super paranoid about everything. So it's like my daughter is going to be 9 months old in a week. Just this morning, I go and feel her back to make sure that she's still breathing. Like I'm terrified of the things that could happen to her. And I feel like that part of that is because of being a first responder and the shit that we do see.
I'm sure that probably heightens up some of it. I mean, I don't see how it couldn't.
Yeah.
Or wouldn't.
And I was hoping that Chris was going to be here, where I could kind of bounce an idea off, like, hey, does this happen to you? Like, this is, I've got a bunch of friends that have kids that are first responders as well, but it's just as far as the friends that I have that are in a department that are super busy and dealing with shit like that, I could only imagine, like, is this something that just crosses through your head?
Dude, I think it's probably going to be just like anything else. it's going to be something that you're going to think about a lot, especially now because she's so young.
Mm-hmm.
And as she gets older, you'll think about other things.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
it'll be, oh, just wait till she starts driving.
Oh, I know. Well,
You
and
know?
that's the thing. It's just like, I think the biggest thing that worries me is that with everything that can happen, I don't know. She can't talk, so it's like I don't know what's going on. And
You can't ask her all of our questions.
yeah, like, exactly. Well,
Do you know where you are?
Yeah.
What city are you in?
Yeah. No, but
How
like,
many quarters in $1.50?
that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I hate it when the medic always tries to freaking
Trip somebody up?
Yeah, like dude,
Yeah.
come on, man. We're trying to see if they're mentally solid here right
Yeah.
now. Don't freaking throw them a
Yeah, don't make them do math.
Yeah,
Come
there
on.
was one medic that God, when I heard this fucking question come out of his mouth, I just wanted to punch him just from the sideline, just come out of nowhere. And he was like, "Is Mickey Mouse a cat or a dog?" Like, you motherfucker, you're giving them an option that's not even there.
Yep.
So I was like, "You dumb mother."
I always love it whenever the patients are there and with it, and they're just kind of playing along with the questions.
Yeah.
And my favorite typically is it's generally the who's the president question. Because you never know what response you're gonna get.
Oh, you're gonna get a response whether it's one way or the other. You're gonna get a response, but everyone knows who the president is, so
Yeah.
it's just an easy question.
Yeah.
So for me, granted, I don't really ask those questions because we're not the transporting agency. So whether they're really, I just make sure that they're okay. I can take care of them, and then when the medic comes in, they're going to be the transporting agency. So they'll ask the questions for their record.
Yeah.
And so yes, doesn't matter who it is, left or right, you're going to get an off the wall.
Oh yeah.
Answer. So and that's So but that's the thing. She can't talk. So I don't know what's bothering her. If she is crying, like, how do I soothe her? It's just one of those things that it was definitely, it was heightened while the call was still fresh. Like, I couldn't even be in the same room with her crying. It was just it was bad. But like now I can deal with all of it now, and be a dad is definitely but that's the thing. It's just going through something like that, you're just more paranoid, I feel like. That's how I am, at least. I can't speak for everyone, of course. Everyone deals with stress or this kind of situation differently. And but my biggest thing out of this whole entire situation is go get help. Go talk, at least talk to somebody.
Oh, absolutely.
Go to someone, whether it's 1 or 2 sessions. Let the professional hear you out. Like, let them kind of gauge what's going on, because there was shit like that. I was talking to my therapist in the first couple of meetings where how I worded something stuck out to him. That was the catching moment. Like, now, did this? I mean, you said this. I was like, oh shit, the way I said it, yeah. Like, holy fuck. Like, it was one word. Like, dude, I could say the same sentence like 10 times, and then I could change one fucking word, and that guy would find it, like, just because of the tone that was in the situation. So that's my biggest takeaway out of this. Whether you've been on for 20 years or if you're just starting out and you're going through, it's a fresh career for you, and something's bothering you, if it's a call, whether it's pediatrics, geriatrics, anything, go at least talk to somebody. Go find somebody that's good with trauma. Like, that was one thing that I was really concerned, because who they were going to send me to was, I was afraid that wasn't going to be, that didn't know first responders.
Right. Not culturally competent.
Yeah. So like,
which is, dude, honestly, that's a huge fear. And that's why a lot of guys won't go that would be willing to go, is because they've tried it before, and the therapist that they went to didn't know shit about our job, and they had a bad experience.
Yeah. And that's the thing, man. If your therapy session is an hour long, dude, it could take us an hour to just describe what we do for a living,
Mm-hmm.
or the possibility of calls that we run,
Mm-hmm.
and they still won't even understand.
Yeah.
But if you find somebody that's good with traumatic situations, or that deals with veterans or first responders on a daily basis or a weekly basis, that's who you need to find someone that's reputable like that, because otherwise you're not going to get the help that you need. The guy that I saw, awesome, great with stress. I didn't have to spend an hour talking about what I do because he's had firemen in there before. Hey, I know what you do. I know what you can see. Not that I've personally gone through it, but I've heard enough where it's really helped me acclimate how I help.
Right.
And that's what you need. And
Yeah.
so that was my biggest thing. So it's like, if you're going to send me to somebody, I'm going to spend 2 sessions talking about what I do for a living. It ain't going to do me any good.
Yeah.
Don't even waste your time.
Yep.
So that's just my biggest thing, is just making sure that, one, you run the call, go get help. Even if it didn't bother you, just get it. The sooner that you go after the call, the more fresh that's in your head, it will help ease it later. Because like I told you earlier, I don't want to go 20 years and then get ready to retire and me have a mental breakdown because I'm thinking of this fucking tidal wave of calls that I ran in my career. I want to be done.
Yeah.
When the call's done, I want to be done with it.
Yep. Well, and I don't know if but we've talked about it before. So, post-traumatic stress is totally normal, right?
Yeah.
It just happens. It is what it is. It happens in everything.
Mm-hmm.
Where it becomes a problem is whenever it comes post-traumatic stress disorder. So for it to really become PTSD, do you know how long it takes?
I could be wrong, but it's like, isn't it like a couple months or something like that?
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
That's it. So, and they've done some research on that, and obviously it's going to vary individual to individual. Some might take longer, some shorter, whatever.
Yeah.
But that just illustrates your point of go as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Even if you maybe don't feel like talking about it, because even though you think you don't feel like talking about it, guess what? You're talking about it all the time anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it creeps up.
Yeah. And I'll go a little bit of a different route. Yes, talking to professionals, that's great, and they're needed. And there are certain situations where that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Like your situation, absolutely, you need to talk to a professional. But there are other situations where peer support's a better option. Maybe you don't need to talk to a professional. Maybe you need to talk to somebody else who was there. Or maybe you need a combination of the two. Maybe peer support's your first step to figure that out, and then you move on to the professional.
No, and yeah.
But it's different for everybody.
No, and I completely agree, because, when we, after that fire, we met at the truck station and kind of had a debrief, and our union guy happened to be on working overtime that day, and he was like, "Hey, don't forget we have peer support guys. Or we can reach out to the union and grab their peer support guys if we need it." So, and then, of course they're like, "Hey, there's different programs out here as well." So I went the route, not necessarily that I wanted to get. I mean, my peer support guys they're not bad guys. They're guys that don't see this shit on a daily basis. And one of my other peer support guys went through the same call I did.
Yeah.
So honestly, he's not going to be much help because he's an emotional wreck. So and I'm just saying, like, and that's the thing. It's just, our peer support guy. I text my peer support guy, and he set up a couple of meetings with different therapists, and then, with me taking off a couple of shifts, it turned into a workman's comp situation. So I had to go through the workman's comp avenues of who I was going to see. And that was where my biggest frustration was with it being so fresh of a call. I was definitely more defensive, and a straight asshole to this lady, and I feel bad now. I really do. But she's telling me she's wasting my time. It's a couple of the days just going through. Hey, just letting you know, you went to this program, you had a session here. Well, we don't cover those people. Okay, that's cool. I get it. They were just the first people that I went to that have traumatic and first responder experience.
Right.
Like they became therapists from, for being first responders.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see them. Okay, well, we don't cover them. Okay, that's cool. Who do you cover? I don't know. What? So you're gonna call me and tell me I can't see these people,
but you don't have a second option.
But you don't have another option for me to go to. So call me back when you know what you're doing. And again, it's so fresh that any little thing was pissing me off. And at that point, that really pissed me off, because you're gonna tell me the people so far I had a couple of sessions with that were like that knew what I did for a living. They knew about the call. They have information. They're helping me go through it, and then you're going to tell me, oh, well, we don't cover them.
Yeah, unfortunately, dude, that's the problem, and it's not with your department, my department. That's a nationwide thing. We're so far in the industry, we're so far behind the curve on mental health and trauma debriefings and all of that stuff. We are 20 years back of where we should be, ideally. And, in 20 years, we'll be where we should be now. It just, the wheel moves really slow. It's moving. It's making progress in most places. But, I mean, that's just the fact of the matter is, it was kind of just one of those, because of our culture, it was swept underneath the rug. It was like, if you need to go see somebody, then you're just not fit for this job.
Yeah.
We're going to handle it with, well, we'll just all go out and get drunk, or we'll all go do some drugs and you'll be fine, and, suck it up, and that kind of mentality.
Yeah.
And, that's the way that the culture was. It was encouraged, and that's the way that it was handled. Well, guess what? That shit doesn't work. That's why you've got guys that retire, and 6 months later they're dead from, being alcoholics. Or, like I said previously, they're on marriage 2 or 3 or 4 and don't have a relationship with their kids, and, are broke. And, well, they're so broke down they can't do the job anymore. So then, okay, well, what are they going to do after they retire?
Or not to be super dark about it, but they just end it.
Yeah.
It's just,
dude, it's so prevalent.
It really is. It really is. That was definitely the last thing that I thought about was, of course, going through all this shit that I was like, no way am I. For me, and not to sound insensitive to the situation, but I just feel like ending your life is the coward's way out. Just because I say that, because one, if you have you have a family. But now, whether you talk to your dad or you're close with your family at all, you still have a family, and they still care for you, whether you're on good talking terms or not. If something happens to you, they're devastated, and you just put your family through all of that shit of what you just did. But also, there's so many different avenues to get help.
Yeah.
Well,
the thing is, and we've talked about it on the show before, when somebody gets to that point, they're not thinking about any of that.
Oh,
and I can tell you from my own experience, there's nothing past right now. There's nothing. You know how you can sit there right now and you can think about, I'm going to go home and I'm going to play with my kid, or I'm going to play video games, or in a week, me and Jess are going to go out to dinner, or whatever. When you get to that point, there's nothing.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that is in front of you is blackness.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's you want to throw around terms like it's a coward's way out, it's selfish, all that stuff, which you're not wrong. It is. It's just a kind of it's another avoidance thing. It's the thing, whatever is going on right now. And it's maybe not necessarily that you want to die, but you don't have the capacity to deal with whatever is going on.
And that makes sense. Again, I haven't been through that situation, so I couldn't tell you. But it's just like, I just see the aftermath after running suicides in our career. But like,
well, dude, we talked about it. If you want to talk about it, so like the person that commits suicide, okay, well, it affects their immediate family. So let's say their wife and their parents. Okay, well, then it affects their wife's parents, their wife's siblings, that person's siblings, their children if they have any, your grandparents, your cousins. Oh, well, let's talk about your friends at work. So them and their spouses, and in context, their children.
Yeah.
So it takes no time at all. You're getting into the triple digits.
Oh, yeah.
One suicide.
Yeah.
You're going to affect, I saw a number, and don't quote me on it, it could be wrong, but each suicide affects almost 200 people directly.
I can believe it. Yeah, I mean, whether that's the true number or not, it's still. I mean, yeah, it makes sense because, just like you said, I mean, it will emotionally affect so many people in your family, and again, you don't even have to be on talking terms with these people, but you're still family. Yeah, like, you know, there's situations where, you know, you hear the occasional like, oh, I can't stand my mom. I haven't talked to her in 8 years, but if she was to get word that you killed yourself, she'd be devastated. Mm-hmm. Just even if you guys were not on good terms, she would. That's you know, you're her child, and that is devastating for any parent to receive. So yeah, I mean, and that will just trickle through her family, you know, her brothers and sisters, or her parents and stuff, you know, all that stuff. So yeah, I feel like 200 is. I would say
probably on the low end.
I would probably say if low end, if not like around the average, you know? I mean, because it's just, you have so many families, or like because you don't know how close people are, of course. But like, say with my wife and her, like, dude, she's like close with 8 or 9 of their cousins. And like when we have cousin night, it's a full house. So like, yeah, so say if that happens, it affects her, and then she goes to cousin night, and it affects all 10 of those families, and then it just trickles from there. So yeah, 200 is honestly, I'd say about average. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's just, again, I've never felt like that. To me, dealing with that aftermath is what was just, that's where it's heartbreaking for me, is because it's like, man, how could they have done this to their family? But again, I've never been in that situation. So of course, I don't know how they're thinking. And I wish people were more available to seek out the help. Like, you know, like whether it's a pride thing, mm-hmm. or if they're just scared. You know, but just reach out.
In our line of work, there are various reasons. A lot of it boils down to culture. Yeah. I mean, it's changing. Don't get me wrong. It is. It's becoming more acceptable, and we're having more resources put towards it, mm-hmm. which is making it more accessible and, you know, less of a stigma on it. Yeah. But dude, anybody that will sit here and tell you that there's not still a stigma on it, and that there aren't people on the job that look down on you for doing it, they're full of shit. Yeah. I've met those people. Yeah. I've had conversations with those people. And, you know, yeah, it is what it is. Some people, you're never going to change their mind, because they are stuck in this. They have this idea of what you're supposed to be. Yeah. No. And, you know, they won't take a step back and look at, you know, the bigger picture, basically. Yeah. You know, they won't take a step back and look at the numbers. I mean, there was a study done several years ago, because firefighter suicides have been on the rise every year. Yeah. And there was a study, 2017, 2018, maybe. if I remember right, 350 reported suicides by firefighters. The people that wrote the paper estimated that that number was actually low, was underreported. They estimate that it's actually at least double that because of the way that departments will report it. Because if you get, you die by suicide, then insurance benefits and all that stuff don't get paid out.
Yeah.
So sometimes those numbers and the death certificates get, I'm not going to say falsified, but they get fudged a little bit.
Yeah.
So people will get.
So the family can get
their family can get those death benefits. So, you look at that, and I mean, it's exponentially greater than in the years before, and it's on the rise and on the rise and on the rise. How long are we going to just sit on the sidelines and just say, oh, well, those people, they should have never been on the job anyway? Well, guess what? They were on the fucking job.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be, this brotherhood and this family and all that. We got to start taking care of our people. And, part of that is the mental health aspect. So why is it cool and acceptable to have a fucking drinking problem and to have, 2, 3, 4 marriages? Why is that acceptable and encouraged?
Yeah. No, and I no one would have an answer for you.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of people are aware of all the stuff out there that can help. And again, yeah, like you said, we are 20 years behind on taking care of our guys, but at least the ones that are willing to have help need to see help.
Yeah.
Talk to somebody.
Yeah.
So
just make people aware.
That's it.
Dude.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Great conversation.
Yeah.
I do wish
agree.
Nelson was here. I think we're going to have you back on whenever he's here and you guys can talk about, because I do want to talk about that whole, being a parent and all of that. I have a different perspective of it.
Yeah.
I'm not a dad. I'm an uncle. So I got, but it's different.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
No, and that was the thing. When I was an uncle, it was, like, hey, there's just times that I'm not there. Like, I kind of, if I need to be away, I'm already away. But now that there's a kid in my life on a daily basis, am I the only dad that's thinking of this paranoia shit, or
no.
So
I mean, to a lesser degree, I think I have it with my nephew. And I know my wife probably would disagree because, I'll toss him up in the air. I play, but he's a boy and we play rough.
Yeah.
And, I mean, not like he's two.
I get you. He's not fragile.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get that.
And I'm careful. I mean, but yeah, it's just, but the things that she'll let him do. And I'm like he was over here the other day and we're all sitting in the kitchen and he's like climbing up on the bar stool and climbing up on the kitchen chair. And I'm like, I'm like,
just ready.
Yeah. Like, it's okay if I could throw him 10 feet in the air, but if he falls from that chair, then I'm going to be upset.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, that's one that definitely runs through my mind. I'm like, am I the only paranoid motherfucker out here?
No, you're not. So, all right, man.
Well, thank you again for having me on. I really appreciate it. And whether we can help somebody that watches or listens to this, that they can they know there's help out there.
Hey, man,
that's the biggest thing.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Awesome.
So I'll leave it with that.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. Have a good one.